Look at any world map. Every line, every border, every country looks permanent, official, unquestionable. But what if entire countries exist, places with governments, armies, currencies, and millions of people, yet they don't appear on most maps? These are not imaginary lands. They are real places with real people, deliberately ignored by the rest of the world. Not because they don't exist, but because recognizing them would change global politics forever. To understand how this is possible, we first need to understand what actually makes a country real. According to international law, a country must have a permanent population, a defined territory, a functioning government, and the ability to interact with other states. Here is the part most people don't know. International recognition is not legally required. This means a place can operate exactly like a country, control its borders, run elections, print money, and still be erased from maps. Between Moldova and Ukraine, there is a narrow strip of land that most people have never heard of. Its name is Transnistria. Nearly 500,000 people live there. It has its own government, its own army, its own currency, and its own border checkpoints. If you walk through its streets, you will see Soviet flags, Lenin statues, and hammer and sickle symbols. It feels like the Soviet Union never collapsed. Transnistria declared independence in 1990 during the final days of the USSR, but almost no country recognizes it. Recognizing Transnistria would destabilize Eastern Europe, redraw borders, and encourage other separatist regions around the world. So the global solution was simple: ignore it. Transnistria exists in a political shadow, functioning as a country while officially being treated as if it isn't real. On the eastern coast of the Black Sea lies another forgotten place, Abkhazia. Officially, it is part of Georgia. In reality, it operates as its own state. Abkhazia has a president, a parliament, a military, and border guards. After a violent war in the 1990s, it broke away from Georgian control. Only a handful of countries recognize it today. For the rest of the world, Abkhazia is inconvenient. Recognizing it would mean accepting the outcome of war and opening the door to other disputed regions demanding independence. People in Abkhazia live normal lives. Children go to school, businesses operate, elections are held. Yet on most maps, Abkhazia simply does not exist. Now consider Somaliland, one of the most surprising cases on Earth. Somaliland declared independence in 1991 after the collapse of Somalia. Since then, it has built its own government, held democratic elections, created its own currency, and maintained relative peace. Ironically, Somaliland is far more stable than Somalia itself, which remains plagued by political chaos and militant violence. Despite doing almost everything right, Somaliland is still not recognized by the international community. Recognizing Somaliland would mean admitting Somalia failed as a state. It would also require redrawing colonial-era borders in Africa, something global powers are unwilling to do. So Somaliland remains invisible, punished not for failure, but for success. On the island of Cyprus, an invisible border cuts straight through the land. The south half is internationally recognized. The northern half calls itself the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. Northern Cyprus has its own government, laws, police, and borders, but only Turkey recognizes it as a country. A United Nations buffer zone physically separates the two sides, patrolled night and day. Two governments exist on one island, but only one appears on most maps. Then there's Sealand, the strangest example of all. Sealand is a former military platform in the North Sea, occupied by a single family. It has a flag, a constitution, passports, and even a royal title. Its population is fewer than 10 people. Legally, it is not a country. Functionally, it behaves like one. Sealand exposes a deeper truth about nationhood. Being a country is less about law and more about power. So why are these places erased? because recognizing them would trigger conflicts, collapse alliances, and destabilize entire regions. Maps are not neutral, they're political tools. What appears on a map determines who receives aid, who can trade, who is protected, and who is ignored. Millions of people live in countries the world refuses to acknowledge. They are born there, work there, and die there. Officially, they live nowhere. The next time you look at a world map, remember this: some of the most real countries on Earth are the ones you've never seen.